Hey, welcome everybody. It's Rob here for our weekly BSPU call. So thankful for all of you during this time of the year. Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. That just passed, of course. And now we are creeping up on New Year's Eve and New Year's, and it's going to be 2022. That doesn't even sound real to me. I mean, what the heck? 2022. Good Lord. What happened to my life? It just like went by. Anyway, I hope you're doing great. I hope it's been a great year for you. I hope, in so many ways that you are blessed and healthy and happy and where you want to be, whether you are or are not. I hope that this will be helpful for you because I am so grateful for 2022. And yet 2022, was a challenging year in some ways. Some things that were completely out of my control, some things that were within my control. So no matter, what this year looked like for you, I would bet that you want to see some things change for next year, for 2022. And so that's what we're going to spend some time talking about. We're going to talk about goal setting. I take the week leading up to New Year's to really contemplate, think about what 2021 was like for me and what I want 2022 to be. I know some people do that way ahead of time and they, are great planners. Perhaps I'm not, but I spend this time for me and, it's worked out pretty well. I want to share with you what my process looks like and just give you some thoughts, maybe going into the next couple of days and into next year, how maybe best to think about goals and kind of structure things for you. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen because I have a Word doc that I've been working on and I want to share that with you. And I have a couple of other things to share with you as well that hopefully you will find helpful. Okay. So do me a favor, let me know you can see my screen okay. The Word document is simply BSPU goal setting. Let me know that you can see that fine. I'm going to go through kind of each of these steps, and I'm going to jump over to a couple of other screens as well, which I hope will be helpful. No one is in the chat box telling me that you can see my screen. Somebody just chat. Let me know you can see my screen. Tony, thank you. Okay. So I'm just going to walk through some of these things seem obvious, but I'm going to go into a little bit of depth into each one of them. And again, this is what I do. Maybe this will be helpful for you. Let me move my camera a little bit so that I can see my screen better. Maybe this will be helpful for you. Maybe there's some things that you do that are a little different. And if that is the case, feel free to type in the chat box and let us know how you do things or what you do that may be different. And hopefully this will, as I said, be something that will kind of spur you to your own thinking and devices. So number one, when it comes to goal setting and what I do, and I start working on it this last week of the year, I've already started working on it. I've already, I got my notebook. I have I got 3 notebooks here. And so I'm always working in one of my notebooks. And so, I already started like listing out my stuff. I already have 2 pages written out and I have several more things to do. So the first thing that I always do is I schedule time for this. I think you're going to need at least 1 or 2 hours minimum to do this. And if you want to really spend time to reflect and evaluate, then you probably need, 1, 2 different sessions of 1 or 2 hours minimum to do this. I enjoy doing it because I keep like records of all of this stuff. So I have like my goals, the things that I wrote down last New Year's Eve, things I wrote down the previous New Year's Eve. It hopefully shows me growth and in ways that I've, like changed and grown as a human being, as a business owner, as a friend, as a spiritual person, etc. So the first thing is to take that time, schedule it, and reflect and evaluate. Now, you can do that any way that you want. I do it a couple of different ways. I found a document that may spur some of your thinking. I kind of like the document. I think it's kind of cool. And I think it's cool just from the standpoint of the kind of thinking that it allows for, but let me pull it up. You don't have to use this, of course, and I don't use this, but I use certain parts of it for myself. But this is the 7F's personal leadership benchmark. I found it online from a company called Good Leadership Enterprises. I downloaded the PDF, and I'll put it in the Facebook group if you guys want it. Basically, though, they have 7F's. I use 4 because I don't want to complicate it too much when I'm goal setting, and I'll go through my 4 F's. But they have these questions that help you to do some personal evaluation. To what extent are you living the life that you imagine on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, something that you can score and take a good hard look at evaluating. Faith. What is my satisfaction with my spiritual life? That is a really good question to ask yourself when you are reflecting. Where are the ways that you are dissatisfied with your spiritual life? Where are the ways that you feel great about your spiritual life? Family, my satisfaction with my loved ones who share a common sense of home. Awesome. We are empty nesters at this point in our lives. And so I think of family as my primary relationship with my wife, but also my relationship with my kids. My middle son just texted me like 1 minute before I went live. And he said, that he just rode his mountain bike and ended up at the bottom of the trail, which led to the Rose Bowl. And the Rose Bowl is right where there's a golf course. Some people know that, some people don't, but there's a golf course right at the bottom of the Rose Bowl. And he took a picture and he said, "Hey, I'm just thinking of you, Dad. I love you." Man, that made my day. You could say whatever you want to me today. That made my day. Like, wow, my son's thinking of me and told me he loved me. And so, what is your satisfaction with your family life and your family? What is your satisfaction with your finances and how you fund your priorities? What is your satisfaction of the health of your body, et cetera, et cetera? You can go through these yourself. The point is, you should have a time to evaluate just your own personal satisfaction in these areas of your life. This is very detailed, and it goes into, probably more detail than I personally do, but you can, I'll share this PDF with you guys, and you can take from this what you wish and what you don't want. But it's good to have some questioning of where you are with your life and what things within those areas of your life that you're happy with and what things you aren't happy with. Because my friend, my BSP family, you are in control of your own personal happiness. And in these areas of your life, whatever it is, you are in control of, your level of satisfaction. That doesn't mean that you're in control of every aspect of things that happen to you in your life, right? You may be out of control with something that strikes you from the standpoint of your health, or maybe something that's going on with your family, with a loved one that's outside of your control. As your kids grow up, you don't have control anymore, but you are in control of your own personal happiness and satisfaction. You can only do what you can do, but are you even doing that? Is always a good question that I like to ask myself. So take some time and reflect and evaluate. Okay. I just write notes down. How do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? Number 2, review your goals from your last year goal setting time. So if you haven't done this before, then you can't do that. But I bet most of you have, and you should have that somewhere where you can go back and look at it. So I got it in my book. I use this book primarily for journaling and goals. And so, I have my last several years of goal setting times in here, and I basically earmark those and go back and look at them. And honestly, many of them have given me a great sense of satisfaction. So I've been able to reflect and see the kind of growth that's happened over the last few years because I've gone back and looked at my goals. On the other hand, there are also some things on there that, geez, I'm writing this every doggone year and I still haven't changed it. I need it, right? That's a time of, real evaluation. What is going on here? Either A, this thing really isn't important to me, or B, I'm just, I just haven't created the right system around really changing this thing. So review your goals from your last year's goal setting time and write down what goals you accomplished and what goals you missed. So that's what I do. I write down, I start my 2022 goals with an evaluation of my previous year. And I just number them, I just have, number one, here's the first thing that I feel great about. I love living on the water in St. Augustine. That is something that, looking back on 2021, is just a great blessing and something I feel great about. So I just write these things down, things that I've accomplished this year that were goals, or things that, reflecting back on my life in the past year, I feel great about, or I do not feel great about. So I just write that down. I missed this, I didn't accomplish this, etc. Number three, reflect and contemplate about what you really want. This may take more than 1 to 2 hours. So, if you've written down the same goal for the last several years and have not accomplished it, you may want to really consider, is this something that you really want? Is this something that you care about enough to really go after it and change it? And it's okay if it's not, as long as it's something that doesn't really hurt you, and that it's something that you need to change, for your health or for whatever purpose. If it is something that you really do want, then I think the next parts will help you, because there are some pieces that need to be put into place so that you can accomplish the goals that you want. In some ways, goals are, I probably should have started with this. In some way, goals are all awful, right? In some ways, it's like, because you work towards this thing, and then when you achieve it, oftentimes you feel a momentary sense of satisfaction, but you then are moving on to the next thing. And I know this is a goal setting, workshop or time together. There's something greater than goals. And I'd say that there's the way that I would describe it is in twofold. Number one, the thing really that your goal is to become a different person, to be the kind of individual whose life is reflected in the successes that you wish to achieve in your life, right? So you are working towards becoming a different person. Along the same lines, that becoming of a different person is really like the small little daily habits and systems that you have in your life that make you who you are, right? It's the systems and the daily habits that make up your character. So when I talk about goals, I don't want to get lost in the idea of, okay, we reach this goal and we feel awesome. You feel great. And you can reflect on it and feel great about that thing. What's even better is the kind of person that you became to achieve that goal. Wow, that kind of character change and those systems that you put into place in your own life, amazing. So I look at and reflect about my life goals, what's changed, what hasn't. I try to distill those to 3 to 5 years. And then, of course, most importantly, at least for this task for the new year, is what are my 1-year goals? I do this in 4 areas. I do it in fitness, finances, fun, and faith, and that is in no particular order, right? Faith/family. So fitness, I consider both mental and physical, right? So this is my exercise routines, my weight. This is my reading habits, my study, things of that nature. Okay. So fitness, very, very important, right? As the old adage goes, a healthy person has 100 goals. A sick person only has 1, right? And that is not to be sick. So our mental and physical fitness, really, really important. Yes, Susie, I'll get you a copy of all of this. B, Tony says, one of my goals is to meet Catherine Bach in person. I love that. Okay, well, great. Imagine the kind of person that you're going to become, Tony, when you meet Catherine Bach in person. B, finances. Finances is both your income. Again, this is my definition of it. You can define this any way you want. but for me, it's income and investment. So I track my net worth. So this is me tracking my net worth, and it is tracking my income and investments to get to that net worth, right? The subsets of that might be, I want to buy another investment property in 2022, or I want to start mining Bitcoin in 2022, that kind of thing. And you may be going, what the heck, mining Bitcoin? Yeah, I'm actually really interested in that. C is fun, F fun, which is hobbies and interests, right? So, I'm an avid golfer. I love golfing. It's important for me to beat my friends. I'm very competitive, and they are as well. And we're all very, very similar in our skill level, which is kind of cool. And so, I track my handicap, and I want to do my best to increase my handicap. Also, what other interest I have, which could be things that I'm reading right now, or new things that I'm trying to do, et cetera. Like, we're talking about renting out some dock space. There's a marina right across the street from our house. And, I was watching, as I was doing my goal setting the day before yesterday, as I was going through this, I was looking out on the intercoastal, and it was just like glass. It was beautiful out there. And there were these dudes riding these surfboards that have a motor on them. They're like a paddleboard surfboard, and they have a motor, and they hydroplane. And so they come out of the water, and I was like, oh man, I want to do that. That looks so fun. So who knows? That might be a goal or an interest for me in 2022. I haven't taken it seriously yet. I only have so much time on my hands. And then faith and family, and I would include friendships in that. Those of you that know me, my relationships with my friends are really, really important. These are all also people that I share my faith with, people that I go to church with. My best friends come over once a week, and, we have time together. We generally will enjoy a cigar and a scotch, or a cigar and an old fashioned. Most of the time they come to my house. We sit around the fire pit. We do it every single week. I mean, the only time we don't do it is if I miss, and then they all meet together, or one of them misses. But I mean, every single week we do it. That's how important that is. Obviously, family time and faith for me, and what that means: times of meditation, times of prayer, study, things of that nature. So let's do a breakdown. Let's take an example, and you've probably gone ahead of me and looked at this, but let's take an example of one of these 1-year goals. For me or for you, I'm not putting numbers in there, but let's say that one of the goals is to get and stay at my ideal weight. And I know what range my ideal weight is in. I imagine you have a pretty good idea of what that looks like for you. Maybe you're there, maybe you're not. If you're not, then you want to get to that ideal weight, and then you want to stay at that ideal weight. It also, again, fitness is about mental and physical. So my routines are very important to me. So I want to work out 5 or more times per week, and I want to read and write every single day. That's part of my own kind of mental fitness stuff. So what we have to do, though, it's great to write those things down, but if we don't have the habits or the systems built around us to achieve those things, then really it doesn't amount to anything more than just kind of a hopeful strategy, right? I hope this is going to change by me writing it down, or, believing that it is. And it needs to be more than that. Maybe we do need to write it down, and we do need to believe, but there needs to be more. And so it's important to break these goals, bigger goals, like get and stay at your ideal weight, into parts. And I would say even more than parts, systems. And so what would a system look like to get and stay at your ideal weight? Well, for me, that means I really should cut my sugar intake to only 1 time per week. I love sugar, but it is poison. I know it is poison, but I love it. I talked to my wife about this. Well, let me finish, and then I'll come back. Number 2, keep alcohol to no more than 2 times per week. You already know 1 time a week I'm going to be doing it. That's right, when my buddies come over. Although a lot of times I will just have a water. Don't eat after a certain time. I like to intermittent fast. So for me, it's don't eat after 6 p.m. And that means the meal's starting by then. the meal may finish at 6:30 or something like that. And then to, build like some safety net and margin around that by speaking to my friends and my family about this. So what are some of the systems that you build around getting to your ideal fitness level, right? So, as you saw, number 2, work out 5 or more times a week. That is my system. I have my morning routine, which is my system, and my system works the same way every single day. And if it doesn't, it feels really weird and uncomfortable. It has become an ingrained habit in my life. I wake up about the same time every morning. It's, 5:15, 5:30, somewhere around that. The very first thing I do is, I put on my shoes, I get dressed, and I take my dog Bob for a long walk. He insists upon it. I could never start a day without taking him for a walk. And so we go for a nice long walk. I put my earbuds in and I listen to some music, and then I start, in my prayer time, my meditation, and I always start with gratitude. So it's just 15 minutes of all the things that I'm thankful for in my life. And I have so many blessings to recount. And that is the way I start every single morning. I get back home. The next thing I do in my system is I make my bulletproof coffee. That's all I eat generally until noon or 1 o'clock. And I make my dogs, both of them, Finley and Bob. Finley never goes for a walk in the morning, but I make them both their breakfast, right? So they then eat. I spend a little bit of time reading, and then Bob and I go for our second walk. He generally has 2 or 3 walks every single morning. And the second walk is much longer. It's usually about a 30-minute or so walk. First walk is about 15 minutes. And forgive me if this is boring, but I'm just sharing, like, this is my boring system. And after that second walk, I do a little bit more reading, and bam, that is when I work out. And I work out every morning around the same time. That is around 7:45, 8 a.m. And that workout is not long. I bought one of those hydro rowers. I love that thing. So I row. I don't do that every morning. I have a tonal as well, which I totally love. I got that last Christmas. My first workout was on Christmas Day, and I've worked out like 275 times in the past 365 days on my tonal. That doesn't include, the other things that I do. The only days that I don't work out are the days that I play golf, because, that's my system, right? And then after the workout, I take my shower and I start my business day, 8:45, 9 a.m. every single morning. So yes, boring. Eric says not boring at all. Just don't tell my dog about 3 walks in the morning. LOL, love it. Tony says just shows you're human. Yeah. So the point that I'm sharing with you is that the only way that I could work out 5 or more times every single week is it is a system that I have. I have done it every single day. Again, except for the days that I work out. Even when I travel, I typically do it. I go to the hotel gym or whatever. Not always, but most of the time. And it's just because at this point in my life, after years and years of doing it, it's habitual. It has become ingrained in my character. And so I'd always write it down as a goal, and I always achieve it because it's who I've become. It's the habit. It is the system. So if there's a goal that you're setting out for, then you need to break down that goal into the smaller parts, and then you need to work those parts into a system, right? If it is to lose weight, and that means cutting your sugar, keeping your alcohol, down, not eating after a certain time, those are pieces, cogs of the system, right? Of who you are and what you do. Now, does that mean that you don't have a time where, you slip, or a time where you maybe do eat after 6 o'clock or 7? Of course that happens. But when you have a system, right, you don't ever worry about like, oh, the system failed once. No big deal. All systems fail once or twice. It's when you're only working out 1 time per week. And see, your system really is, I don't work out. And the failure of your system is every now and again, you do work out. You see where I'm going with this, right? If your system is, I don't eat sugar, and every once in a while you do, great. But if you find yourself eating sugar 5, 6 days a week, and every now and again you skip it, well, your system, you are in a system of eating sugar or drinking alcohol or fill in the blank. You need to change that system. And you got to look at your schedule. You got to look at your relationships. You got to look at, how you have organized your life so that you can organize it in a way that helps you reach and attain your goals. Really. All you want to do is create those systems and build the structure within your life so that you naturally, automatically attain your goal, not the other way around. Okay. I hope that makes sense and is helpful. Long-term life goals. This is not always the first thing that we think of. I think many times we find it, many people, I know I do, find it easier to think about goals in shorter spurts, shorter periods of time. 80% of the people I know, even the smartest, most hardworking, we allow our schedules to be dictated by what is urgent, not by what is important. That is true for me. That, you may find true for yourself as well. And that, that's part of what I just shared about the systems. When you're in this systemic dealing with the urgent, and because of that, the important stuff gets squeezed out, it means that you now need to make some shifts and changes so that you have time in your schedule to deal with the things that are important, and that you build your schedule and your life and the systems in your life around the things that are important, not the things that are urgent. We see this with our clients that are writing their books, right? No one is ever more excited to write their book than when they first get started, but then, it tends to wane. And even though with our ghostwriting and all the things that we do, we still need you. We need you to do what only you can do. Give us the content, right? Like be the expert. And that means that you have to have a system around it. Even if that system is just meeting with the ghostwriter one time a week on a certain day, et cetera. And another day of the week is a time for you to think about your stories, about your content, et cetera. Okay. So go back and identify what is important to you, life goals wise. Okay. As I just had my birthday, I'm 57, which, I feel great. I don't know what 57 is supposed to feel like, but I'm pretty sure I feel really awesome for 57. And here's what I thought about for me. Some of you know, probably most do not. I was raised by my grandparents on my father's side. My parents were hippies, 60s, Harley riding, dope smoking, just doing what they wanted. And so, my mom was 18, my dad was 20. And so it ended up that my grandparents raised me. Well, my grandfather was 57 years old when me at 6 months joined their family. And I don't remember at 6 months old what he was like, but I remember what my grandfather was like when I was 5, when I was 6, when I was 7. I mean, they raised me, and I owe everything to my grandparents. I couldn't be more grateful for the life that I had with them. You know what? My grandfather was old at 57. He was old when I remember him at 60. He never worked out. He didn't eat terrible, but he didn't eat great. He just didn't know the things that I know. He didn't know how to take care of himself. I gobble up supplements. I'm concerned about what I'm putting into my body. Not this time of the year, albeit I don't want to be a total hypocrite, but you get the idea. But I'm the same age. And so I reflect on that. I'm like, wow, okay, what is important to me at this stage of my life and in the next, years, however many years God gives me. So you need to contemplate that, think about that, break your life goals down into 3 to 5 years, and then 1 year pledges that you make with yourself. And then determine the actions weekly and even daily to accomplish those things. And let me change one thing. I'm going to say actions and systems that need to take place. Because if you get a system up and working, you're going to reach your goals. That system is going to take you to where you want to go. And then make a commitment to do first things first. Do the important things, not the urgent things, right? Your mental and physical fitness, your income and investments, your spiritual and relationships, family, friends, your hobbies and interests. Put those things for 2022 first and in their place, and then figure out, like, break it down. What is it going to take for me to build a life, a morning routine, an evening routine, a middle of the day routine, whatever. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. You don't have to wake up at 5:30 a.m. You wake up whenever you want, but build your life in such a way that these systems help you to reach and accomplish your goals. If you have the right system in place, then you don't need goals, right? You're going to get to the destination that your system allows you to get to.